We got CJ King on the show. What's going
Thank
on,
y'all
CJ?
for having me. We here.
What's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Glad to be in the building with the two legends.
You funny, man.
Yeah.
Talk to us, man. How is life treating you lately?
Man, life is good. I can't complain. I refuse to. Got my wife and 2 kids healthy and at home, and so yeah, I'm good, man. Everything's great.
Describe the season of life you're in right now.
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say right now, God is teaching me how to. He's teaching me discipline, right? Like how to steward all the gifts that He's given me, how to steward them well.
Right.
So not just having a lot of talents, but how to steward those talents, when to use them and how to use them. And so that's the season I'm in right now, because you can be talented at a lot of things, and it just all, if you don't have any discipline on how to use them and when to use them, who to share your talents with. One, you'll be burnt out, you'll be used and abused, you'll just be tired at the end of the day. So
yeah, I think when I asked you walking in, I was like, how you feeling, man? He's like, yo, man, no complaints. Some people say that as like a casual thing, of like a cliche thing.
Yeah.
I felt when you said it seemed really sincere.
Yeah.
You seem like a really grateful person. You know what I mean?
I am. I done been through too much to complain about anything right now, and always look at the basic things. So a lot of we stress over money, we stress over assets, but then I look at the thing we wouldn't trade money for, like health. Like you look at time with your loved ones, and so I value those things a lot more today. Like literally, when I'm with somebody in their presence, I'm treating it like it's the last time it might happen.
Yeah. That's so good.
So it adds a different weight to the time you spend with people.
For sure.
Yeah. What have those stewardship things been for you lately?
Time. So not spending as much time on Netflix, getting up early in the morning, working out, taking care of my body, and going to bed at a decent time. I'm still working on that part.
Bro, we in the same boat.
Still working on that part, but I'm working to go to bed at a decent hour and wake up earlier, like around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, just to have more time in the day, because it feels like there's not enough time in the day half the time.
Dang, so I'm always asking my especially my men who are like, you know what I'm saying, family oriented, faith oriented, in shape. What's your regimen? What's your day like? You wake up 5 or 6 in the morning, you in Devo, you in workouts. How do you, I hear what you're saying from a macro standpoint, but give me some detail. I want to know what you're doing. Yeah. What's your day look like? Yeah,
so first thing when I wake up, I'm getting ready to, and this is around, naturally I wake up around 6 o'clock. So I'm headed out, I go to the gym, get a little run in, get a little workout in, and typically there guys hooping there around 7:30. And so we'll get a little hoop session to get that cardio in. And then I'm headed back to the crib to really get started and dive into work, emails, content creation. So I literally have on my phone's over there, but everything's blocked out with colors, because I'm a visual person. So I need it to be colorful and vivid. So everything's blocked out. All right, an hour for content creation. Even if it's bad content, create something. An hour for... what do I have? Emails, an hour for getting orders out. So it's just blocking everything out. And so I aim to have my work day done by 3 o'clock every day, so that the rest of the day is spent with the family or it's spent doing really whatever else I decide to do. So many times I fall into still working past that time, just because I'm the type of person, I can't stop working if I know there's more to be done. And so I'm trying to discipline myself to have a hard cutoff time, because the work is going to be there.
For sure.
So it's always going to be more work to do, and I'm trying to teach myself that.
That's good. Talking about family, Father's Day just passed. I know you got little ones. How was your Father's Day?
Father's Day was good. It was good. I got a little video from my little ones saying what they're grateful for and how they appreciate. So my daughter appreciates. I always give her Robux for Roblox. My son, he 3, so he just like food. So he cool about me giving him food. So Father's Day is good, man. I got a boy and a girl. It's the perfect thing I wanted. Yeah. And that's it. No more. I'm out the game. That's it.
How old are your kids again?
So my son is 3, my daughter is 6.
Dang, bro. Yep. So within the 6 years, what has been the biggest lesson you learned with fatherhood so far?
Ooh, that is good. The biggest lesson for me has been to leave something behind. So there's, of course, the way we all think about with legacy. Like, what am I going to leave them? You know, what stories will they have about me? For me, it's that, but it's also the practical thing that, and I talk to a lot of my artist friends about this. Even something as simple as getting a will. Not even just a will, but life insurance. And I'm not here to promote life insurance, or I don't have a company I'm promoting. But like, yo, if something happens to you, leave something behind to your family. Because as creatives, a lot of times we out here winging it. You know what I'm saying? We just figuring it out, going from show to show, gig to gig, opportunity to opportunity. But that, you know, if you can, you know, get life insurance, leave that behind at least. If something happened to you, so
get life insurance, y'all. You heard CJ King say,
"Hey, look,
broadcast announcement."
Hey,
you know, you adulting when you got life insurance.
Adulting. So that's just a practical point. And the only reason I say that, and emphasize it is I had my cousin. He was like my brother, like closest person in my life. Every time I'm in town, we rolling. He played all my shows when I was doing shows heavy. And so he passed away tragically due to a motorcycle accident, like last September. And so he didn't have life insurance. So a lot of that burden, you know, fell on the family. And so for me, it brought to the realization for me, dang, if something happens to me, I want to make sure, like, money is the last thing y'all got to worry about.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want y'all to be stressed about, dang, how we going to cover this, because I saw how expensive that stuff is.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I talked to the homies on the phone. Hey, bro, like, if you just get a chance, just look into it, bro. I ain't trying to sell nothing to you. I mean, shit, they should give me commission or something, but yeah.
No, I hear that. So I feel like with Ace and I, we can both attest to this, that we both knew you first from the music industry, but you've pivoted in so many ways with your clothing brand and God I Flex. Before we get to the start of it all, I'm really curious to how you even came up with the name. Like what inspired the name In God I Flex for the clothing brand?
Yeah, so it was actually it was a God thing. So in 2020, I had a clothing brand called Lord Knows. So I had a single called Lord Knows, and so I made clothing off of it. Right. So I would go to different shows and realize, man, I'm making so much more off of merch than I am performing. And so me being a business mind, it's like, all right, you got to go where the money resides. You know what I'm saying? And so I started leaning heavy into the merch side and was pushing the Lord Knows brand really heavy. And we started doing like $50,000 a month in sales. And then I got 3 months in, I got a DM from a guy who said, hey, I actually own the trademark to Lord Knows. So, you know, I'm asking you to cease all sales immediately. Oh, and at this time, we probably got 200 orders in the queue that need to go out. Yeah. And so for me, I was like, dang, like God, I know you ain't just tease me with this financial freedom just to snatch it away. And so I was walking around the house that day just trying to figure this thing out. And I came across a dollar bill that a show promoter gave me a few years before. And it was saying, you're a blessed one. And he had it laminated and he wrote on there, you're a blessed one, CJ King and a band. And so I was like, dang, blessed one. We blessed ones. I like that. And so that's when I changed the name of the company to Blessed Ones. And then I was looking at the dollar bill and it said, In God We Trust. And for some reason that kept sticking out. And I was like, man, what's a modern way of saying that same thing? And it was like, yo, In God I Flex. And so it just stuck, like, In God I Flex. Oh, that might actually be something. So I hit my boy up, yo, what you think about this? Like, In God I Flex. He was like, yo, that's tough. I said, yo, that might actually be something. And so I, did some of the mock-ups and I put it out there. And first month we did like 30,000. I'm like, okay, cool. We getting back to where we were. And so, it kept going from there, but it all happened because one door closed and another one opened up. And so it was like God placed it right there in front of me. So it's funny how you put things together. You never know how something that someone gave you years before might be the key to your answer years later. And that was, I just kept that dollar for whatever reason. Yeah. And I didn't know it would be for that reason.
Talk about how you, like, when you got that cease and desist, were you like, damn, like really, how sad were you? Were you like shook? Like, was it like, we're going to bounce back? What was your attitude? 'Cause you seem like a very like, man, I'm going to get through type of person.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
What was your vibe like? What was your feeling like?
Man, when we got the cease and desist, it was very much so what you said, kind of all right, we it's gotta work or it's gotta work. Like, I have to figure this out. There's no it's too much relying on. I had my daughter, had my wife.
Oh, okay.
You know, I had her to stop working.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I had to, I mean, the house was looking like a trap house. Everybody coming through the house, orders, my aunties in there, my homies, everybody. I'm like, you come work. And so I'm like, no, this has to work. So I'm thinking, you know, we serve a God who gives endless creativity, endless ideas. Why would I stress when, if he gave it to me one time, he can do it again. Yeah. And so many times I don't stress too often. If I am stressing, it's more so over creating a new concept or a new strategy, but less, it's never really stressing for fear of it not working out. It's just a matter of,
that's so good.
It's always a matter of when for me.
That's so good.
It's a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. And so walking in that mindset, it makes life a lot, I'm not gonna say a lot easier, but it gives you a tool that helps you handle the weight of life a lot easier.
For sure. It seems like you can respond more freely. Freedom to fail, to try, to learn, to grow, you know?
Try, and it helps you break things down to be able to figure them out. So it's a question that I learned to ask, you know, what must be true for this goal to happen? You know, whether it's, I want this clothing brand I want to create another name for this clothing brand because we got a cease and desist. All right, so what must be true for me to create something else that was just as good? All right, it must be catchy. It must be simple for people to be able to understand what it means off rip. It must be this. Cool, if that's the case, then what must be true for me to make it like that? You know, just you break it down into micro steps, and that's how I handle anything. All right, this bill is due. What must be true for me to get this thing paid? I need to make this much. Okay, if I need to make that much, what else must be true? I need to be diligent. I need to stay up and not watch Netflix. I need to, you know, you just break it down step by step, and it helps you really map out the answer along the way. So
that's really good, man.
Listen, man, I feel like we just delve into like a piece of it. So when we come back, we're going to dive into more things here with CJ King on the 116 Life here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the 116 Life on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Ace Harris, Meah Evans checking in. Here with CJ King on the show, man, talking about all things in God I Flex and so many more things on the way. But we want to go a little bit back. Let's go to the past a little bit.
Let's go.
I'm curious to know what your upbringing life was like. Like, what was life like growing up for CJ King?
Yeah, so I was a PK. So life was church. Like, church,
you said that so much.
Life was church. Like Monday service, Tuesday service, Monday service. We didn't do a Tuesday service. Wednesday service. Thursday we frying fish to sell. Friday we had baking pies to sell. Saturday service might have been a prayer meeting. We would have a service outside on the corner of the street. I mean, church was life.
Yeah,
and that was it. So. Being a PK, I didn't get to do a lot of other things that, you know, kids got to experience. I didn't go out to a lot of parties or unless I snuck out to one or, you know, so I was real, I wasn't outside. I was in the house.
You had siblings or?
I have siblings, so 2 younger sisters.
Okay. So you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
And how was it like being like the firstborn son, the oldest son?
Yeah.
Was that like pressure for you?
It was. So I played ball in middle school and high school, and so I happened to be pretty good at it. And so it was kind of cool because my sisters would come to my school and they'd be like, they would assume my sisters were just as good as basketball at basketball as I was. And so, you know, when my sisters would try out, they'd be like, oh, this ain't, you know, some people think it's just if one person good,
everybody good.
Yeah. I'm like, it don't quite work that way.
No.
So I think it was more pressure was on them than me.
Okay.
So I will say that, but yeah, playing ball and then I got into hip hop really high school, because I started off by listening to this early morning show on Sundays. I think it came on at like 6 a.m. Might have been on 107.9. I can't remember which one, but I think it was Coco Brother had a show.
Coco Brother, legend.
The legend. Coco Brother had a show, and he would play, Ziglag Boys, and he would play T-Bone, he would play the Cross Movement. I mean, he would play all the OGs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's when I first got into, oh, shoot, this is dope. I got the Grit CD. And so I started getting into music. And I remember my first remix I did was to Young Jock Is Going Down.
For
and
real?
so I remixed that song, performed it at church at the youth service.
Can we hear the lyrics?
Hey, nah.
Can we hear what you play? Meet me in the track. What could you
Right.
I just want to know what you said.
I ain't gonna say
that. In the church, it's going down.
It's going down. That was one bar.
I can see that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
on the nose.
generic.
Right there, yeah. It works though.
So yeah, it was cool.
Christian remixes was a thing.
It was a thing.
I know online it's like a debate of, and I have my own thoughts, but I will say for artists that were coming up and starting out, man, what a great way to just get your rocks off.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Who was it? It was one dude. He was nice with it. I can't remember his name, but T Hattie.
T
Hattie.
Yo, he used to go crazy.
T Hattie was nice with it. And so growing up listening to that, that's how I got my intro into CHH, and that's when I started, doing my thing as well.
That's crazy. So
did you start music for yourself? You said around high school, so that you started with the CHH scene.
Yeah.
How was that the beginning stages of that for you?
How was it at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know anybody else doing it. I didn't know there was a culture around it. I just really started doing it, burning it on the little CDs.
Yeah.
And then when I went off to college at Liberty, I went up there with the Atlanta hustle. Like first day on campus, I'm walking around passing out my burnt CDs. Like,
gosh.
Hey, y'all check out my music.
You was ready.
Ready. And I'm doing every single open mic. I'm there. I'm performing. Yeah. And so I built the reputation around campus. And so I built the following, and people started checking it out. And I had one single called Swerving that really launched me into the CHH space. DJ Wado, shout out to him.
Shout out Wado.
He's the one who broke the song into the industry. So DJ Wado did the spin, then everybody started like, yo, this joint is a vibe.
Yeah.
And so from there on, it was like it took off like a rocket. And so started doing features, and back then it was like if you were on one of the platforms, I can't think of a few of them, but that you made it if you got your music on there. So yeah, that it was really fun in the beginning because it was like new and fresh to me. I didn't know it existed.
So when it came to, I want to go back to when you talked about being a PK.
Yeah.
So with you growing up in the church, did you always have a relationship with God at a young age, or when you got older, you something kind of started getting more solid between you and God? I'm curious to know how your personal one-on-one relationship with God became real for you.
Yeah. So growing up, it was routine. Like you go through the motions. You do what you're supposed to do. I played drums in church. And then it didn't get real for me till I went to college. So my second year in college, I was really battling whether God was real. Cause I'm dealing with financial issues. I see my parents dealing with financial issues. And I'm like, I see people always going to the altar and praying for the same thing, and they going for the same thing 20 years later. And I'm like, this is where all the questions started coming to me.
Yeah.
And so there was even a moment where I was, sleeping in my car. And so I was like, man.
While in college?
Yeah.
At Liberty University? Ain't no other Christians help you out?
Yeah.
What the heck, bro? They was like, nah, we got the same God, but we can't have the same dorm room.
Right.
That's crazy.
It's a wrap.
Facts. So, man, I was really battling. I was like, man, I told she's my wife now, but she was just my girlfriend then. I was like, man, I don't know if this God thing is what they say it is. And then there was a moment where I was offered a full ride scholarship for rapping. Like Liberty hit me up, was like, hey, like we want someone to be our rapper on campus. And I was like, because I told you I had kind of
built. What does that look like?
Yeah.
A Liberty University rapper? Like,
yeah.
That's can you share more? I want to hear.
Yeah. So let me go back and tell how it happened. So I was going through life, like financial struggles, and then something happened where my parents' finances got jacked up a little bit. And so pretty much it got to the point where I couldn't return back to school because just we didn't have the funds. And so when Liberty hit me up about the opportunity, I was like, yeah, I'm probably not even gonna be back on campus. So like I appreciate it, but I would love to, I just can't.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool, well, we'll get back with you. The very next day they hit me back, yo, well, will you do this if we pay for your schooling? I was like, oh, say less. To rap? To do some 16s?
That's crazy.
Say less. And so, yeah, they paid for my schooling. Like, that, to this day, it's one of the best phone calls I was able to make to my parents. Like, hey, y'all ain't even got to worry about paying for whatever. And so they paid for my schooling. And so I would just go around the country with the team, just pretty much recruiting and rapping. And it's funny, they always wanted me to do Craig's verse on what song was this?
The Chris Tomlin mashup?
Yeah.
Got the bro, that's like the evangelical like hip hop.
Yeah.
Like Holy Grail.
Yeah. Bro.
Whenever Craig did that, I think so. It was what was the Chris Tomlin song? Who can stand against?
Yeah,
so there was a version where they took the Iron of the Tiger music bed and did like a remix, and Craig came on stage at Passion in Atlanta and rapped this verse over that section. Yeah. And that thing sent the roof off. So like it was like it's like 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember.
It was a thing.
Hey, I know because I've rapped that verse before too.
Look.
Yo, can you do that rap? I'm like, bro, that's not it, dog.
As a rapper, you like, I mean, I can, but
can you rap that one black guy? Right. Craig, can you rap his verse just like that?
Just like that. You know, the way he did it. But so yeah, I even had to do that. And so when it came to graduate, they even offered to pay for my master's and for me to continue to do it.
Wow.
But I just, at the time, I was like, it's time for me to step out. And so to tie that back into my story of like my walk with God. So while I'm doing this, I'm performing on these stages in front of 10,000 students. And, you know, but I would perform, get off stage, and then go back and work front desk at a motel, trying to make ends meet. I'm like, yo, I done reached out to school. I done reached out to this. I done asked people for help. Hey, I'm willing to work for it, and no one's helping. So it was an eye-opener for me because I went into the world thinking, hey, you do good, the world gonna do good to you. Like, you know, you go in with thinking you a good person. People gonna be good to you. And that wasn't the case. And so it really drove me into this, and I think that what ties into my mindset of I'm gonna figure it out. It drove me to this place of being really independent and like, well, I can't depend on nobody. So I gotta do it. And so through that time, that's when I kind of hardened my shell on like, all right, I'm not gonna wait for someone to come fix my situation. Like, I'm gonna go out here and figure it out. And so that conflicted with the dependence on God, because I'm like, God, you say you do this, but I ain't gonna wait. I hear you, but I'm not finna wait. And so I had to go through a really rough battle of learning how to depend on him again and still like apply the faith without works thing.
Sure. That's a delicate tension, right?
Yeah, delicate tension. So
like,
still trying to.
We all, right?
Yeah.
God, I believe what you said.
Yeah.
But look what I gotta, you know, it's on me too though,
it's
right?
On me too.
You know, it's tough. It's tough. We have to learn to work and surrender. Yeah. It's like both and work and wait.
Yeah.
And God, at the end of the day, we can't input a formula and get the results. God decides how things turn out.
Yeah.
But he still requires us to show up and be faithful.
Yeah, he's responsible for the results, for sure. And I think that's where a lot of, when we look at how it was growing up in church and we see a lot of people going back for the same thing year after year, and they're still struggling in this area, that area, finances, whatever the case may be. I think a lot of times that goes back to the works part, because we do good with the faith, but the works part is where a lot of people fall short. A lot of people fall short on the works part. Like I had a mentor, and he was doing a master class teaching people how to build their business and structures. And I was like, man, you giving out all of this information for free. Like gems, like all of the knowledge, all of the hints, the tips. And I was like, so what's the method behind that? Like, don't you want them to like pay for some information, or like, what's the method? And he was like, well, tell you, here's the truth. 98% of people are going to hear the information, but they're not going to execute anything. He was like, what's the saying? He says, we're addicted to information, but allergic to execution. So they're going to hear it, but majority of people not going to act on anything. So same with faith. We hear it. We hear the truth. We hear what God can do, but we won't act on nothing. Yeah.
This man spit.
Yo, that's great.
Listen, but when we come back, I want to dive more into your mind as a businessman.
Yeah.
Because you seem to have grown, even having that mindset, even in college. I can only imagine how that's evolved as you have the clothing brand. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the 116 Live on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the 116 Live, Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Ace Harris, Meah Evans here with CJ King. So I want to talk about shift from talking about music into you really diving into creating clothing brand. But before we do that, I just feel in my mind, you pushing the pavement so hard with your music, and then you shifting into pushing into the clothing brands, even when it comes to Lord Knows and then Blessed Ones, and then of course in God I Flex. Was there ever like a tension or like a hesitation, like, oh dang, like man, I really like I push so hard with music, and like I want to see how far I can go, because I got dreams and goals for I wanted this to go, but this seems to be working. Like, what was that tension like?
Yeah, and it's a real tension. To this day, something that I'll confess, to this day, God has been heavy for the past 2 years saying you need to make more music. You need to make more music. Because there's still more to be put out. At the time that I was making music, I truly feel like my sound was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And as a result, there wasn't much space for the type of music I was doing. Like now there's space for like the R&B vibes and
you're so right.
Alternative R&B vibe, the Masego. That was my style, like Masego vibe. So now there's space for it, but before it just wasn't really space for it. And so when the shift happened to merch, I got so busy with it that music kind of fell to the side. I just didn't have time for the music. And so I shifted into doing it, but not as much. And that's when I got into like the publishing world. And so I started submitting music to, the directors who would put my stuff on TV shows like Empire and a couple HBO movies and the NFL commercials. Like they would place it there, and I was like, "Oh, these checks are nice. Like this is, I don't gotta go perform nowhere. Like, oh yeah, this is." And so I got into that world, and so part of it caused me to be a little lazy with it, because it's like I don't have to work as hard to create content around the music. I don't gotta perform in front of a camera. All I gotta do is just send them the type of music they're looking for, and it's a wrap. And so eventually I did less and less and less. And so then I moved into another lane of where I was just writing for people. And that's kind of how I got into doing some work with different artists. And so I got into writing for people. I was like, okay, I like this lane because I can use my creative mindset and apply it to others' music without having to be so involved in like everything else around it. And so that's one thing I do love about music. There's so many different areas you can flourish in. And so I did that for a little bit. I still do it now, actually. So that's what I'm doing now, but I know God is calling me back into putting out more full songs like for the consumer base. And so I know that's what he's calling me into, and I'm gonna be obedient.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that like maybe this week. So yeah, the tension has always been there, and I know he's tugging me back that way. But at the time when I first started and the clothing brand blew up, it was really hard to balance those two, because you go from, I think my highest salary ever at the time was like maybe 40,000. Then you go to doing that in a month consistently. Now you ain't even thinking about music, really. You like,
I think that's dope about you. You're artist, you're creative, and you have an entrepreneurial mindset. And I like some artists or creatives. Some creatives are artists, and I feel like sometimes they limit their creativity to being an artist.
Yeah.
Whereas you opened up your toolbox and said, you know what, I can be creative in these different buckets, which I think is helpful for some creatives to not limit their artistry to just being a public-facing figure.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like hearing you talk, I'm like, you didn't seem to like. I mean, obviously, I know you still want to do it, but it didn't seem like that was your main identity or your only way for you to be creative.
Right.
But I think that's a healthy mindset. Is what I'm arguing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it really is. I always told God, look, if this isn't for me, like if you don't want me to, if this isn't the right path, if this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, like if I'm not supposed to be up here on these stages, like please make it clear to me now, because I don't want to invest all of this time and energy and it not be the thing I'm supposed to be doing. Because I'm an all-in type of person. If I'm doing music, I'm doing music. If I'm doing clothing, I'm doing clothing. If I'm doing consultations for marketing, I'm focused on that. And so whatever I'm doing, I put my all into it. And so my prayer is always, God, whatever I'm doing, let it be strictly from you, for you, because I don't want to fall into a me thing, because the minute I do that, it's just you're doomed for failure. Like that's not the route you want to go. So remaining open, I think that's really key.
That's dope.
How has your business perspective changed since you first starting the brand?
It's changed a lot. I had to go through a lot of growing pains. So a lot of people talk about the beauty of, man, I made this much this month and I did this and that and that. And 2020 was I call it the fluke year almost. Like it was the gold rush. Everybody was
the gold rush. The entrepreneur, the LLC gold rush. Oh my
goodness, the gold rush. Like if you didn't make money as an entrepreneur then maybe that just wasn't the route for you. But like 2020 they were printing money. People couldn't go shop in stores, so everybody flooded the online market, and it was a perfect storm. So I said, what was the question? Oh,
Your
business mindset.
Yeah.
So 2020, I started making all of this money, right? 6 months, we did like $250,000. And what I learned was that if you have broke habits when you're broke, you're still going to have broke habits when you have money, unless you change that. And it's not an easy change. And so I still had broke habits. I didn't know anything about taxes. I didn't know anything about paying people, the right way through checks, because everything was, hey, here, you get $100, man, pull up, da-da-da. All the homies pull up. Auntie, pull up. And so
good. This is great. I'm listening to this story. This is like amazing.
Yeah, man. So I mean, the house, people going in and out of the house. And so as a result, for about 75% of the year, we were cooking. I mean, balling. And then it was funny. You start getting a little money. Your fashion changed a little bit. Your collar opens up a little wider, you show a little more chest, and you stop wearing socks.
Yeah.
So you stop wearing socks, your pants a little higher. So went through all those phases. Then reality hit when I realized, okay, wow, just because the business made $50,000 this month, that didn't mean I made $50,000. That meant my business did, but I didn't. And I'm paying out all this money. Not paying all these taxes. Because what people don't realize, especially in e-commerce, if you're selling in different states online, you have to pay taxes in all these different states, not just one tax. And so I had to get an accountant. I had to get someone to look over all my finances and clean it up. I mean, literally, we went through a collapse just because over time, the money the money wasn't there that I thought it was.
Sure.
And so we literally went back down to zero.
Wow.
Like I had to shut the business down for a few months because we got all these Black Friday orders in, and it's taken 3-4 months to get them out because the money isn't there. And so you deal with customer complaints. So that was a huge learning curve for me. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
Got to figure this out because you're trying to navigate all of these every day, hundreds of emails coming in. Where's my order? It's been months. And so after a certain point, you really just want to go hide and put your head under a pillow. And so navigating through that, you know, I was able to make it out of those waters. And then, you know, there was a different curve that came. It's like, all right, learning how to do, you know, management, like manage your resources. I had to let some of my friends go. You couldn't have as many people working for you. You had to have those hard conversations.
Can't take everybody with you.
Yeah.
Can't take everybody with you. Some people understood that. Some people didn't.
And guess what? Those that don't, they weren't supposed to be in your life anyway.
Exactly. And that was hard for me to understand.
I can only, survivor's remorse is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yo, you made it, CJ. You popped. Hey, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, that's what Shaq said. I'm rich. My kids are y'all not rich.
Yeah.
But so it is a humbling, and I think God does allow space for people to be pruned out of your life.
Yeah.
And that you can't, and that's okay as long as it's not done with malice or discontent or evil. It's like, hey, man, like where God's taking me, you're not supposed to be with me.
You're not supposed to be, and because you know, even when you're going through those times, they're not there to help you get through those times when you don't have it. I didn't have the money, so what did I do? I looked up on YouTube how to build furniture using just basic 2x4s.
Wow.
And so I looked it up, saw you just needed a wood saw and like one more tool. I went to a pawn shop, bought one with my last $75. Started making furniture and was selling that for like $300, $400 a pop on Facebook Marketplace. Like
this dude is different.
Hustle.
This dude is different.
Man, listen.
I'm serious.
I want to also, before we go, I want to talk about your view on marketing as a marketer. I think that's such an important piece, luring through your feed and how you've been able to scale in God I Flex and the brand and everything. So talk about your just 30,000 foot view, your view on marketing, how you've been successful at marketing and how people can glean from that, you know?
Yeah, so the way people study anything else like sports or the way they study fashion, I study marketing. I study psychology. I study the way people think. I study what triggers people to hit that add to cart button. Like I go into the deep nuances of it. So marketing is really all about solving problems. Like this person right here, why are they wanting to buy your product? If they go to my site and they see in the God I Flex hat, they probably want a dope faith brand that they can wear, but they don't want to spend maybe $400 on the shirt or the hat. So cool, what's that middle range that's going to make them click? And so it involves a lot of patience, research. I watch a lot of YouTube. I invest in a lot of courses just to learn how to understand what people want and not even need. It's mainly what they want because they have their needs most times. It's really what they want. And so now I spend most of my time doing consultations with different artists on getting their marketing their brand or their clothing brand or whatever it is they're wanting to do and helping them understand the psychology behind, cool, how can we get more people either to my site, to my event, to purchase? Like, what behavior do you want? And we can figure out how to get them there. And so it's a fun game just I love figuring it out. Like, cool, how can I get you to do what I want you to do? Yeah. So some people call it manipulative, like marketing, but it's more so just like if you see, let's use this example. If someone goes onto your site and you put limited supply only, you'll be surprised at how much that moves the needle for them to buy because now limited supply sounds like or they might not have much left, or they might actually have. Let me. I'm gonna go ahead and at least add it to the cart. Cool. Now that you added it to the cart, you might get an email saying, "Yo, I saw you left something in your cart. You might want to check it out. There are only a few more left." Now that same thing that caused you to add it to your cart, they're pressing on that button to make you now be like, "Shoot, I gotta do something." It's creating urgency because it's pressing that button that made you add to the cart. So
that's so genius, bro.
It's so many different nuances, but I have a passion for it. Like, I literally love it.
That's so dope.
When it comes to In God I Flex, I feel like it's changed you professionally, but in what ways has it changed you personally? Going through learning about stewardship, discipline, even the marketing, but how has that affected you?
Yeah. It's made me have to look in the mirror and ask, am I proud of the person I've become? Like, it's really forced me to be better with integrity, with my character. So I'll tell one quick story. When the business took off, it was at a point where my marriage was, a little shaky. And so I was like, dang, what's going on? I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe if I'm making a lot more money, it'll fix our issues. Started making a lot more money. Guess what happened? It didn't fix the issues. And so all it allowed me to do was to have more resources to get away from the issue. And so having more money didn't solve it. It just exposed really more of what I needed to work on. And so that sent me through a process of counseling and getting help just with my marriage, my wife and I just working through, man, what's really the root of the problem? So a lot of people think that money is going to fix things, and no, it just exposes.
It does.
And so if you can actually take time to work on yourself, to work on, your heart, your integrity, being a person that does what you say you're going to do, being a person that shows up on time, like I'm working on, you know what I'm saying? Like being a person that, respects other people's opinions and can, talk to people without talking down on them.
That's
like
good.
Those are the intangibles that people overlook because they think that the end all be all is the money, but no, it's really like the person. Like, people don't remember how much money you have when you walk in a room, but they remember how you made them feel. So
That's good.
That's real, man. Listen, before you go, give everyone your social media and how they can tap in to In God I Flex.
Yeah, so my social media is CJ King Official. My clothing brand page is In God I Flex Brand. You can tap in, shoot me questions, or support the brand. I'm really accessible. So yeah, feel free to hit me up.